afternoon to one and all. My name is Nathanael Ong, and I'm currently a PhD student with the National Institute of Education. It's my great pleasure to be with you this afternoon to share a bit about my PhD research on the topic mobile phone addiction. Right, we can see that mobile phone use is actually a very modern phenomenon where I think it presents itself as an indispensable part of modern life. We use our mobile phones to do various tasks such as search information online, go on social media, as well as to explore various entertainment options. However, with this increased reliance or dependence on mobile phones, there are various negative effects that can as well. In fact, it can even lead to mobile phone addiction, where some people feel that they are enslaved to their mobile phones. I remember that before I embarked on my PhD, I used to be a sports psychologist with the Singapore Sports Institute. And one of the common complaints or concerns that our national Team Singapore coaches have is that the athletes are glued to their phones, are distracted by their phones, are engaging in excessive mobile phone use, so much so that it distracts them from their sporting endeavors and actually serves to weaken their performance as an athlete. Right, so this got me thinking, what is it about mobile phone addiction that actually hooks people, and what are the factors and effects that are involved in mobile phone addiction? All right, I refer you to the second photo. I think it's a common sight in today's society. It's called like being a phone zombie, where people, if you see in the MRT or in the shopping center, people are walking around, but they're not observing their surroundings. They're actually glued to their phone, right? And this can be actually quite dangerous in situations where you are maybe crossing the road, and you may actually bump into fellow commuters or even bump into a pillar, right? So this is one of the negative effects of excessive mobile phone use or mobile phone addiction. And if you look at the third photo, again, this is a rather common sight in today's society, right? I don't know how many of us attending today actually engage in mobile phone use just before we sleep. We're lying on our bed, comfortable on our pillow, and we take out our phone instead of sleeping. We take our phone and just scroll maybe mindlessly, and this actually can negatively impact things like sleep duration as well as sleep quality. Okay, so what is mobile phone addiction? Firstly, it's not yet been formally recognized by the DSM-5. So the DSM-5 is what we call the Diagnostic Manual, the 5th edition, basically the handbook by which they recognize various clinical disorders and addictions. So even though it hasn't been formally recognized, much research has shown that there are similarities to other behavioral addictions, for example, gambling, internet gaming. In fact, the WHO, or the World Health Organization, in 2015 actually suggested that mobile phone addiction may present itself as a novel form of behavioral addiction. And we can see from statistics that the prevalence of mobile phone addiction is actually rising in years. Right, this is especially so among East Asian countries, for example, South Korea, Japan, China, and Taiwan. Right, so I would categorize Singapore in that list as well. So what are the characteristics of mobile phone addiction? How do you identify if, let's say, how do you identify if I myself face mobile phone addiction, or maybe if you have any friends, or maybe if you're a parent, if you have a child, or how do you identify if that person has mobile addiction? Well, there are actually 6 criteria which characterize mobile addiction. Firstly, is a loss of control, right? You find out, you realize that you are unable to control or limit your mobile phone use. So maybe at first you only wanted to use 1 hour or 2 hours, then you end up using maybe 4 or 6 hours instead. Secondly, is preoccupation, where even if you do not have your phone with you, you're constantly thinking about your phone. Thinking, okay, maybe someone text me on WhatsApp, maybe there's something happening on social media that I need to check. So your thoughts are not in the task that you're doing, but you're preoccupied about using your mobile phone in the future. Next, we have tolerance, where you require a greater duration, a greater amount of mobile phone use in order to satisfy. For example, maybe at first 2 hours is enough, then maybe you move to 3, then 4, and then soon your mobile phone use duration every day goes up and up. Following which we have withdrawal. So for example, if you forget to bring out your phone, if your phone battery is low, you've got to bring a portable charger, or you run out of data and you don't have access to Wi-Fi, you begin to experience certain negative emotions. You begin to experience maybe even fear or anxiety. Another characteristic is neglect of other activities. If you're a student, maybe you're supposed to be doing your homework, your project or assignment, maybe you're supposed to be paying attention in class, but instead you're using a mobile phone and therefore neglect the more. If you're a working adult, if you have your phone next to your work desk, and the phone keeps vibrating with notifications, you are less productive in your role as an employee. And the final characteristic is continued use despite harm. I think the most common manifestation of this is actually using your phone while driving. I think we all know that that's actually quite dangerous because it can lead to road accidents. However, some people, if they feel their phone vibrate, they have that uncontrollable urge to check their phone. Therefore, it can present a very dangerous situation if you're in situations while you're driving. Okay, so today I want to focus on the youth and adolescent. Let me just give you the statistic. In terms of average mobile phone use per day, Singaporean youths actually use about 3.4 hours per day, where this compared to Asia Pacific youths who use about 2.8 hours per day. And then finally, Singaporean adults, which use about 2.3 hours per day. So we can see that Singaporean youths actually use higher than Singaporean adults. And please note that this statistic is a bit out. This survey was conducted in 2015. So I would guess that the number of hours per day has risen exponentially, especially with the advancement of the smartphone technology. Why are youth and adolescents more susceptible to mobile phone addiction? Because the younger generation are digital natives. I remember that when I was young, I used those old Nokia phones. The smartphone wasn't invented yet. And, we only had SMS, we only play games like, Snake. I mean, for those older generation, what I'm talking about, right? But the younger generation, ever since the advent of the smartphone, the iPhone 7, they have grown up using smartphones. They have grown up being what we call digital natives. And therefore, mobile phones actually play a pivotal role in key developmental tasks, such as forming friendships, socialization, forming their own self-identity, and this gives them a sense of independence and autonomy. I think especially for the younger generation, they like to use their mobile phones because they have a bit of privacy. They are away from the scrutiny of their adult authority figures, such as parents and teachers, right? So this motivates them to use their phones more. So now let's cover certain factors which contribute to mobile phone addiction. Firstly, individuals who have a need to alleviate boredom, maybe high in sensation seeking, they require constant stimulation, right? They are more at risk of mobile phone addiction. Right? Individuals need a constant source of entertainment, and we all know that mobile phones actually provide a quick and easy source of entertainment for various individuals. Next, individuals who are shown to be higher in shyness, higher in social anxiety, actually are more at risk of mobile phone addiction as well. This is because such individuals, they're uncomfortable with face-to-face interactions, so they use mobile phone use as a substitute for face-to-face interactions with other people. So maybe if they meet a person, physically face-to-face, they feel a bit awkward, they feel unable to engage in a meaningful conversation. But on the online space, which is often conducted through mobile phone use, right, they feel more comfortable and they're able to get that social interaction need. There's also a factor which is to cope with negative emotions. There's certain individuals who are more at risk of mobile phone addiction. They use their phone as a coping mechanism to cope with the negative emotions such as anxiety, even depression, fear that they face. So it provides them a so-called escape from reality, and it acts as a sort of security blanket. So whenever they face negative emotions, they feel a bit down, they feel a bit negative, negative mood, they use their phone and it provides quick relief from the negative emotions, right? So it performs, as I said, a form of security blanket that they can run to each time. Another factor is actually impulsivity or poor self-control, where individuals engage in what we call mindless use. So let's say you have a notification on your phone, without even thinking, you straight swipe your phone, unlock it, and then begin to check, Twitter or Instagram or something for the latest. So you're not really thinking through why you're using the phone. It's just whenever you get a notification, you automatically become habitual and a bit of like an impulsive action to check your phone.
Hi, Nathaniel. Sorry for interrupting you a little. I think your audio is a bit choppy.
Oh dear.
Yeah. As in, we can hear you, but it's a bit like high volume, low volume, that type of thing. Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is it okay?
Yeah, I think right now it's fine. Yeah.
Let me know if it. Okay.
It's cutting off again.
I'll just pull out my headphone.
Yep.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be better now. Let me know if I cut off again. Sorry. To continue, another factor which actually contributes to mobile phone addiction is what we call FOMO. I think this is quite a modern phrase, but I think some of us are quite familiar with it. It stands for fear of missing out. It means that you use your phones to keep up to date with friends or latest happenings, and you fear, a bit of anxiety that you may be missing out what's happening on the online space. That can actually motivate people to check their phones more, to use their phones more, and it can lead to mobile phone addiction. There are also various gender differences which contribute to mobile phone addiction. And we can see that people of different gender, those use their mobile phones for different purposes. For boys, research has shown that they use it more for purposes like gaming, entertainment, as well as watching videos. While girls, they use it more for things like social media, communication, and maintenance of relationships. So we can see that if we are addressing, mobile phone addiction in different genders, for boys, we have to target different. For girls, we also have to target different. Now moving on to the effects or consequences of mobile phone addiction. First, as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, sleep is actually one of the major effects of mobile phone addiction. Right, this is because of three reasons. Firstly, it's time displacement. So, for example, instead of sleeping, you use your mobile phones for 1 or 2 extra hours. So that time could be used for sleeping. So you sleep 1 or 2 hours less. Secondly, is elevated arousal. So if you're watching a very, a very violent video, or playing a game which has a lot of action, your brain will be too stimulated and your arousal level will be too elevated, and you're able to sleep after that. And finally, there's blue light, which is emitted from the phone. This has been shown to suppress melatonin production, which is actually the sleep hormone, so you're unable to sleep properly. Another negative effect of mobile phone addiction is in terms of social interaction, where people who use their mobile phones, excessively, actually enjoy lower quality of social interaction. And this is a term called phubbing, right, which is basically snubbing because of phone use, right? So if you're in front of your family, in front of your friends, instead of talking to them, instead of interacting with them, you choose to use your phone instead. Another effect of mobile phone addiction is actually the realm of attention and distraction, where if you're learning, if you're studying, if you're doing work, and you have your phone next to you, and it keeps buzzing, it keeps giving you notifications, this can actually reduce your productivity and distract you from the task that's an impact. And we have another modern term called nomophobia. It basically means no mobile phone phobia. Similar to what I said, the characteristic of withdrawal. When your phone is not with you, when you have low battery, you're unable to access Wi-Fi or mobile data, you actually experience certain negative emotions. This can include fear and anxiety. Another negative effect of mobile addiction is actually entrapment, where many individuals feel that they lose their autonomy, their freedom, where they have the pressure to constantly respond. For example, if their friend, text them on WhatsApp, they feel that they need to respond quickly, or else, they may be so-called ignoring their friend. Or, they feel that they also need to check social media or check information online to be up to date. There's also another modern term called anxiety, which is basically describing a situation where you feel that there's phantom ringing or vibration. You feel that your phone is ringing or vibrating or having notifications when actually there's nothing there. So this can be due to the characteristic of preoccupation, remember, which I stated earlier. The phone is so salient, so constantly on your mind, that you think the phone is ringing or vibrating when actually it is so. And finally, there's a lot of research to show that mobile addiction actually has a negative effect on various mental health processes. It's negatively correlated to there's a high correlation with these various mental health areas such as depression, anxiety, as well as low self-esteem. So for the final part of my presentation today, I just want to cover certain helpful strategies that hopefully you yourself can use, or if you're a parent, you can use with your children who may be struggling with mobile phone addiction. The first strategy is really to schedule your mobile phone use. I stated earlier that one of the factors which contributes to mobile addiction is actually what we call mindless or uncontrolled use. So actually scheduling helps to overcome this, where you give a certain time slot, allocate a certain timing that you're going to use your mobile phone, and actually give a limit. For example, you say, I'm going to use your mobile phone after dinner for maybe 1 or 2 hours. So this helps you to schedule, helps you to really regulate and allocate a time to use your mobile phone. And we noticed that one of the main effects of mobile addiction is actually in the area of sleep. So having a shutdown routine before bed is really helpful. So I would recommend that maybe 1 hour before you sleep, you actually switch off your phone or put it in somewhere that is not easily accessible. And do an alternative activity such as reading a book, journaling. There are many activities you can do to help you to go to bed instead of mobile phone use. Related to this is to really find alternative activities. As I stated in the factors of addiction, some of it is to get boredom, some of it is to cope with negative emotions. So you can find other activities besides mobile phones to help you in these areas. For example, exercise, as I mentioned earlier, reading a book, or even things. And research has also shown that peer support is very important. If you try to curb your mobile phone use by yourself, most of the time you will. But if you actually journey together with a friend, maybe a friend who goes through the similar struggles, and you're someone to be comfortable to, it's shown to be more effective, and you're better able to overcome your mobile phone addiction. Now I'd like to speak to the parents who are here today. To this talk. I want to introduce to you 3 types of parental mediation strategies that are present in existing literature. First is what we call restrictive mediation. This involves rule setting or time restriction, where you tell your child maybe you can only use 2 hours, right? Then after that, I'm going to take away your phone. Right? So this is a very common strategy used by many. There's also active mediation, where the parent actually takes time to explain to the child and to hear the child out. So this requires a bit more effort, where you actually ask the child, what are the main purposes that you use your phone for? What's the role of the phone in your life, right? How does it help you to develop? Things like that. And finally, there's co-use. As a parent, you actually use the phone together with your child. So I think this is very good because it firstly builds the parent-child relationship, as well as a parent, you're actually role modeling the positive mobile phone behavior. So for example, you tell the child, okay, now we're going to use our phone, but maybe just for 1 hour. Then after the 1 hour is over, you don't keep using. You actually show your phone and say, hey, how about let's play a board game, let's go and get some groceries. Right? So you're able to role model that positive mobile phone behavior. And there are actually many useful apps available that help you to limit mobile phone use. So I'll recommend the inbuilt apps in both the iOS phones and the Android. For iOS, it's called Screen Time, and for Android, it's called Digital Wellbeing. However, I would like to caution everyone that it's not actually very beneficial to solely rely on these so-called apps to restrict your child's mobile phone use. I would recommend that you actually use it in conjunction with activation. So what I'll say is that don't just tell your child, okay, you can only use 2 hours, or after I'll take away. Because research has shown this can actually be counterproductive. The child feels resentful and will actually find ways to circumvent the measures that you place. It's better to first engage in active mediation, where you take time to explain to the child, get the child's buy-in, to understand why it's important to regulate your mobile phone use, and why there are other healthy activities that they can engage in. And then after that, you actually use these app limiting apps to complement the existing desire within your child to restrict their mobile phone use. Okay. All right, so I come to the conclusion of my presentation today. Just to sum up, mobile addiction is a rising phenomenon, and this is particularly so in the Singaporean and youth population. You can see that individuals who are easily bored, who are shy, who have low self-control, and who are prone to negative emotions are actually most susceptible to mobile addiction. Several negative effects include sleep, social interaction, attention, and mental health. And some of the strategies that I've introduced today include planning ahead, scheduling your mobile phone use, finding alternative activities, as well as engaging in active parental mediation or co-use. All right, thank you very much. I've come to the end of my presentation.